This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN.Network. And joining me today is a very familiar face who we love getting an update whenever we have her on. It is Pam Marrone. She is the founder and CEO of Marrone Bio Innovations. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is MBII on NASDAQ. Pam, welcome back. Good to see you.
Welcome from Davis, California, where it's hot, cooking today, 100 degrees.
You're telling me, I got shorts on right now. It's hot. It's hot in here. So I wanted to dig right in because we actually last had you on about 2 months ago. You know, the company's put out some news in terms of Q1 results and a recent deal or an approval for use on cannabis and hemp in Canada. But you know, I want to first dig in to the Q1 2020 financial results. I know you've talked about this. All right, I'm sure you're sick of me even having to ask about it, but I have to. Let's get a quick update. How was Q1 performance-wise for the company?
We had a good Q1. We had record revenues of 9.7 million, and we had record gross margins of close to 58%. So we're really proud of that. Now on the operating expense side, we had an uptick, but if you back off the non-cash charges related to the ProFarm acquisition and ProFarm's operating expenses, our operating expenses were not up. They were flat year over year. So we're doing well with increasing revenue and margin and keeping our costs under control, which is exactly what we're executing on.
Perfect. And I wanted to move on quickly from that because, look, that was Q1, and we're right in the thick of Q2 right now. So, you know, let's talk about Q2. How's the company been doing so far? What have you been seeing? What's been going on?
Q2 is going well, and yeah, we're expecting up over last year, despite COVID things going on. We're watching the low commodity prices. Some commodities, crop commodities, prices are low. When prices are low, they skimp on pest management tools. So we're keeping an eye on that. But soybean acres are up 1 million acres over last year, but down 4 million from 2018. But that's a positive considering how many millions of acres they're up over 2019. We're seeing an increase in Majestene demand in sweet potatoes, an interesting crop that's really, consumers have really taken a shining to sweet potatoes. Sweet potato fries and so forth. I certainly love them. There's wireworms and nematodes that get those tubers, and Majestene does a great job, and we have got great data. So we're seeing constant demand for that product, which is exciting. So that's sweet potatoes, but an even bigger crop is potatoes, and we've got a number of trials out for the same pests with potatoes this year. So we're looking forward to that. We're also seeing in Q2 an uptake on our Bio-Unite program for navel orangeworm and mites in almonds and pistachios. And that is our program where you combine Venerate for navel orangeworm with a leading insecticide and Grandevo for mites with a leading product together and see a better performance than either alone. So the growers have less damage and they get more dollars for their crops. So it's an increased ROI of about 3 to 1. So that's the seasons, the spray's going on right now. The moths are flying and the mites are chewing. We also are excited that we've gotten 14 new university recommendations. Why is this important? Because the university land grant system are key influencers with growers in recommending pesticide products. And so if you're not in the university recommendations, you're fighting for that mind share because the growers will look at those recommendations and see what products to use. So we're very excited by that progress that's significant for us, 14 new university recommendations for our products. And we also have 6 new crop consultant recommendations. So you've got the university recommendations, and then you've got the private crop consultant recommendations. So this is great progress in our adoption into the market.
Quick side note, I also have to say, big fan of sweet potatoes right now. My wife and I, we like the sweet potato noodles, and then we put it, you know, with a little stir fry. So I'll test.
I didn't even know they were sweet potato noodles. I'll have to try those.
You have to. It is delicious. I'll send you a link afterwards. But I think I might have cut you off. Were you about to say something else?
No. I think that was a good update for Q2.
Got it. All right. Well, I also wanted to ask because, look, in these times, in COVID times, we're seeing, especially at the beginning of this, there was a huge rush to the supermarket to go pick up food and have goods. And, every market around here, we're in LA, they want to make sure that all their produce is, they're properly getting filled. So those industries, they're operational, they're moving forward. But I have to ask, look, at the same time, some of these industries and some of these companies are doing their best to, try and cut costs because, look, there's a lot of things going on with pandemic and whatnot. So where are you seeing your products and services in the I guess demand need from some of these agricultural companies that are doing all the farming and everything like that? Are you seeing either a greater demand, or are you seeing them kind of wait and see as we continue to move forward?
Well, yeah, people have to eat, but there's just a disruption in where the food is going. So obviously food service has been way down, and whereas fresh market and supermarkets has been way up. So organic produce has been, and some of the fresh commodities have benefited a lot from the supermarket increase. So organic farmers, local regional food systems are doing quite well. We fit very nicely into that food system. I do know a number of large growers and processors who go into food service. Some of them have been able to adapt and move. For example, I know one of the largest cheesemakers in California, and normally he sends big blocks of cheese to food service. Well, he's able to cut them smaller and move them into retail. So that's an example. Some are able to adapt, some are not. Everyone is concerned about worker safety, and there's a hotspot of food processing and meat packing cases in Southern California right now. And so everyone is keen on how we're protecting workers from when things are starting to back open. Now, we've been open the whole time because we're part of the essential ag business, as are other ag businesses. So worker health and safety is job one.
Absolutely. And I also have to ask, I know we did, that was more or less an industry update right there, but was there anything else that's been going on that you've been seeing in the agricultural industry right now?
Yeah, what's really interesting is governments around the world, COVID or not, are putting in place pesticide reduction initiatives. This obviously benefits us. We have alternatives to chemical pesticides. So for example, in the European Union, they've announced under their Green New Deal 50% cut in ag chem use by 2030. And they are targeting a 25% organic agriculture by 2030. They have initiatives to increase integrated pest management and to facilitate biopesticide approvals. Yay, because Europe has been a nightmare in terms of getting products through, even though they've banned hundreds of chemicals and continue to do so. Getting through the regulatory process has been expensive and cumbersome and long. And so this is welcome. We're right there with our regulatory team, working with industry trade groups to help facilitate that as well. Mexico has announced that they're going to push to use the principles of agroecology to a gradual transition to an agroecological future. This is very interesting, that term agroecology. Sometimes you'll hear ecologically based agriculture or regenerative agriculture is definitely taking off around the globe. And you're going to see that term used a lot more in the future, agroecology. India shocked the industry by announcing a ban on 27 pesticides, which was 20% of the market in India. So, wow. So this continues the trend that we've been seeing, and certainly benefits products like ours.
Absolutely. So I also have to ask, one of the other big newsy items that the company came out with, I believe I have it right here. It was on May 14th. And that was the announcement of Regalia MAXX receiving the first approval for use on cannabis and hemp in Canada. Can you explain a little bit about what this news means and how it affects the company?
Yeah, so for those who are in the know or know that hemp is 0.3% THC or lower, cannabis or marijuana is 0.3% higher than 0.3%. So in Canada, you have to get approvals on both crops. And so we did, and we're the first product, Regalia MAXX, which controls powdery mildew, which is the worst disease in cannabis and hemp, and botrytis, which is gray mold, also another severe disease. Also, Regalia boosts the crop's quality and growth. And so we were the first product to be on both indoor and outdoor cannabis and hemp. So that is very nice for us. The hemp market is, prices are falling, and there's been a lot of planting of acres and ahead of where the market has been, although, CBD products certainly are taking off with consumers. But we're seeing steady purchases every day of our CG brand of products in the United States, and then soon, and certainly starting some orders in Canada. Our CG is cultivated garden, which includes cannabis and hemp and greenhouse crops. And we're seeing steady sales every day of that product line. So we're seeing this as certainly one of the growth drivers of the company.
Got it. And are you seeing this as a potential growth driver in the US as well? Or is it because it's still not technically federally approved that you have to kind of a wait and see approach?
Oh no, hemp is federally approved now, but the cannabis on the marijuana side is approved by the states, and we're approved on all the key states. So we're seeing steady sales in both hemp and cannabis. Yep.
Got it. All right. So Pam, then from what you can tell us, what would you say are some of the company's goals now moving ahead here for the rest of 2020?
Well, I'll just mention our ProFarm unit. We're expecting 2 of ProFarm's products for seed treatment to be on 20 million acres in the European Union in 2021. That's an amazing accomplishment when that happens. That's a lot of acres. So we're really exciting. We've also mentioned that some of the recent results they've got is that when they combine ProFarm's product with herbicide for controlling weeds, spraying it out on rice, apparently herbicides in rice can cause a little damage to the rice, and it reduces yield. Well, apparently ProFarm's product can actually increase the yield and reduce that herbicide damage. That's a whole new use that we hadn't even considered for ProFarm's products. Also, we're seeing very good data coming out of Brazil in soybean trials, where we see more than a 5% yield increase and a 80% win rate. So more than 80% of the trials were having a yield bump. So we're seeing, we have a really bullish about the potential for a ProFarm unit with the seed treatment and some of these new uses we're seeing. So that speaks to our goals for international expansion, which is one of our key initiatives of the company. We have Regalia MAXX, which is now a distribution deal with UPL for South Africa. In Canada with plant products for cannabis, hemp, and several other crops. And then Grandevo and Venerate with anisac and chili, and Venerate expecting a Korean approval soon. So around the globe where biologicals are being taken up more rapidly, is one of our key initiatives. So we'll continue to grow our revenues through international expansion, through market penetration, so more acres, more growers, more sprays, and then also additional crops. So moving into increasing new crops like pistachios, which went from pretty much 0 to significant in the first quarter.
And Pam, where can my audience go and find more information about Marrone Bio?
We can go on our website, which is www.marronebio.com. Also, there's a nice blog site called Bio Bites, where there's a lot of good information if you want to get some background information about biologicals and the industry.
Perfect. Well, Pam, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and good luck, stay safe, and I look forward to our next update.
Same to you. Great talking to you again.
Thank you.